Maven and Nox can be the factor that's going to change the shape of this matchup, as Nox is probably looking for information on where this Ivern is going to start, which is why you can see Ambessa posturing in aggressively. You've got the Mordekaiser covering the potential invade routes as well, so they're really trying to secure exactly where this Ivern's going to start, and that ward probably going to be a very important one for tracking exactly where the Ivern starts and letting Nox do things like cross map, because remember, the Ivern has to prep those camps. So if you're going to change your plan mid-clear, the Xin Zhao is going to the person who has more of the ability to do that, whereas the Ivern got to prep the camps, got to go back and get them eventually.
Yeah, nah, that's exactly it. But love to see where they're going to start as Ivan use those blast cones, get down bot side. I think it's going to be pretty standard starts to these lanes. I don't think anyone's going to be doing anything too spicy. And you know what? I can appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see as the laning phase unfolds. It is going to be disjointed starts. Of course, the Ivern does weird stuff like this. He's going to tap his Raptors, go up, probably tap all his other camps, smite one of those, come back and clear the other one, and then complete the clear down towards the bot side. So that means both of our junglers are going to be colliding down towards that bot side, which is expected with just generally these matchups. You've got a Jinx Annie. If you can get that Jinx ahead, who is very much going to be the focal point of the team for Clown, then that makes a whole lot of sense for Maven to get down there.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a slower start. No one's looking too aggressive, which is always good. There's the level 2, looking for those early fights, but just zoning them off. Always good to see it. Oh, a bit of a cheeky one up top side. Wonka taken below half health. Not ideal for this laning state.
Definitely not. We haven't really talked a whole lot about this matchup because we were trying to figure out where it was going to go, but the Ambessa, yes, she's got a lot of mobility, but that mobility doesn't really get her completely clear of the Mordekaiser death circle. So you're kind of going to take some really rough early trades early on. You can see that Happy Second has taken control of this matchup fairly early, but here's the expected invade here, as Nox might be just looking to try and cut down a tree.
Oh, I'm a fan of this, just waiting for it. Obviously, they know the pathing. They throw in a bush just for a bit of sneaky vision. Throwing out the wards too. Nicely done there by Nox, but again, this is the aggression we expect to see. Raccoon's coming in and says no thank you. Just the pressure.
Yeah, nicely done. Is going to just tap the camp and smite it straight away, is Maven, so gets away with his entire jungle cleared, whereas Nox has only managed to clear half his jungle, now has to go back down to the bot side, and Aquilin going to burn the spell, burn the flash on Clown to get out of that potential engage. Taking a lot of punishment from that Ezreal.
Already 10 CS up on this Ezreal as well. Definitely going to make this game so much harder. But again, we know Jinx is that hyper carry in the later game. Get 3-4 items, can do so much. So honestly, at this sort of level of gameplay, you expect these guys to be able to just say, it's okay, we'll just farm this one out.
Yeah, absolutely. Nox is going to probably get this crab just with the priority from bot side. He's going to smite it to make sure it goes up to his top side, but this is a bit of a tempo lead for this Ivern. He has managed to clear his entire jungle. He's going to be able to path up towards the top side, and Happy is going to be able to send that wave under tower. It's going to start slow pushing back towards him, so maybe an angle for Maven to get towards the top side, as Raccoon is just pushing out that mid lane, probably looking for a reset as well. So a bit of a slow one in the early game, but the one thing that is true at the moment is the Ivern, at least in terms of tempo, is ahead. I don't think that's going to translate to any sort of CS lead at the moment, but it's really going to be a question of what he can do for it. Right now, he's just walking over a ward.
Yeah, cheeky fighters, Happy Second. Took a big trade from Wonka, but yeah, straight over a ward. So nice work on Wonka to have that little bit of a map awareness. TP back mid from the Garen, because they are quite far down. We haven't talked about this. Raccoon probably going dumpster diving at this point, because sort of struggling, but there's the flash engaged. No flash on Clown. He's just laughing back to the circus he goes. Aquilin still being jumped on too. No stun burns the flash, and a beautiful gank out of Nox.
Really nicely played. Just flash forward by Darkness, just catches Clown. Probably felt he was safe under the tower, but unfortunately had the support coming in from Nox, who found the aggressive play, reversed the trend of the early game, and is able to get that kill. They're going to be able to send some waves onto tower, take a base here, and get back and start building up towards that Triforce for the Ezreal. And there is a conversation to be had where, yes, the Ezreal generally struggles hitting that front line, but if you're so far ahead, that narrative just goes away completely, and the Ezreal is just able to rip through your front line.
Oh, and a Sheen being picked up this early in the game, and a tier to boot. Man, you got to be a little bit worried about that one, Weapon.
Yeah, the earlier you can get that tier stacking, definitely the better. The earlier you can buy actual combat components. Willy Wonka looking for an aggressive trade onto Happy.
Oh, public execution, but the flash is burnt. Happy second, might be going down for the first time, and an easy pickup for Nox. 2-0 in this game. They want those feats of war.
And it was only ever going to be Nox on this Xin Zhao. Early aggression is the order of the day. Gets both of his side lanes ahead. Really nicely played. And he's going to be able to set up for these grubs as well. Reset coming out from Willy Wonka. So he's going to be able to teleport in if the grubs are even going to be contested. But at this stage, with just the Ivan on that top side of the map, I think this is going to be 3 grubs comfortably going over to Nox.
3 grubs early is always nice. Again, what would you actually say is the priority and objectives here for these two teams? Do you think it's better to get the grubs for the side of GZ Academy, or do you think Dragon's probably a better call?
I mean, absolutely, at this stage of the game, if your bot lane is going to be winning the push, they're going to be able to chip down the towers and actually get to use those grubs. You've also got the range versus melee matchup in the mid lane, so the likelihood that you'll be able to get that chip damage down on the tower or potentially look for a catch with Nox coming in with the level 6 crested by Shine on the Orianna, you know, that potential does rise. So the damage you can do with those grubs is going to be increased. But the trade back is going to be the Dragon. This is pretty much expected. It's just going to be that Chemtech Drake. So yes, it was buffed, but it still feels like a bit of a concession here for the roundtable side. So they are looking for that one big play that they are going to find in the early game if they do find it. And really do feel like they're slipping away in this game. It is just about that, just under 1k gold rate.
Yeah, and that's not a bad thing in the end of the day too. Again, getting all those dragons, if they can get that priority, is always quite big in towards the later game. Yes, you can get Void Grubs, but from my solo queue adventures, I've noticed that Void Grubs don't actually just win you games. I think dragons have a bit more of a potential to snowball a little bit more out of hand. So I think it's a nice trade. I think it's going to be utilized, the grubs, by GZ quite well. But whether these drags get that priority given, especially with a winning lane in this Ezreal, I don't know. Could go either way right now.
Yeah, like I said, it is just like Chemtech Drake, so you're not too concerned about giving this one up. The next one is going to be an Infernal, though, so the stats will be quite nice for this early game aggression that you're putting out here. And definitely something that we'll expect to see Ground Zero look to play for. And you've got Orianna rotating down towards the spot side. Every time we pan this camera down, Polymos and Darkness just have Aquilin and Clown under their tower, just booked, getting poked, not able to get anything started at this game. And the build path for Jinx heading up toward this Yuntal is just so rough.
Yeah.
Especially when you compare it to a Sheen on Ezreal. Those single auto trades can be so much nastier. If the Q lands, if the Q doesn't land, you just walk up and auto, and Jinx has a slingshot. It feels awful. So
yeah,
this is definitely going to be a situation that continues to exacerbate itself. Might be one where in other metas you might consider swapping the Jinx out. We are at the 8-minute mark, so it's certainly possible. Try and contest those grubs. We'll see if they look to push out and make that play. It feels like probably the right choice, but for now it's just going to be Jinx and Annie pushing out that bottom lane, looking for a reset, looking to just survive this early game.
Yeah, no, with a couple little half items being completed out now too. You can see the Tiamat being locked in for Raccoon there as well, but looks like the mask is coming in hot, but for the Orianna. But now there's a bit of a scrap going up. Happy second. This could be their second kill if they do decide to go down, as Nox is looking for that side gank. Public execution is available, but it's not really going to be happening. Nox is doing a lot of damage. Happy second wants a bit more. Death Realm be damned, but they're all here. Happy second so close. Rocket comes in clean. Nox is on 1 HP. Flash out of Wonka is enough. The Daisy's trying to get it done, but can they get them to back off? Dashes, slashes, is it going to be enough as they can get out with the skin of their teeth?
Absolutely. Playing the margins there was the Ground Zero Academy side, and Maven coming in clutch with the shields just at the right time, keeping Happy Second alive, kind of getting brutalized by Nox in his own Death Realm, but they do make the play. They do get the crucial counterplay on the top side. Nox was probably looking for that gank, looking to set up around the river and get the second round of grubs, but now is potentially going to have a contest there that might manifest from round table. It is a few seconds out from those grubs spawning, 30 seconds, but the control of the river has been ceded over to the round table side. You can see the wards in river around that river entrance. Nox also walking over a ward there, and the Scuttle Crab picked up. So there is potential that this early game can reverse, and Happy Second will be there alongside Maven for that contest. They've even swapped the Jinx into the mid lane to match the Ezreal. So you can see exactly the next objective is definitely going to be looking at those grubs.
It's bloody done nothing. It's a Garen.
Yeah,
So
absolutely
Garen
nothing. And
Sheen.
it's also a bit of a waste of an ult with if
Yeah.
that fight was going to come through. Shine does have the teleport.
That's all right, I guess. Raccoon doesn't have the teleport, so could look to just make that all-out players. The Void Grubs have been started. Only one picked up, so the potential to get the 5 passive is still their weapon if Nox decides to go for that play. But looks like they're trying to turn this one around. Maven now just backing off. I think they're just conceding.
That's so unfortunate. I don't know why you wouldn't just pull the trigger and try and concede. Yes, the mid priority is being held by Ezreal.
Because Nox wants to just go straight in. The Wind Slash does go through. Ivan, Maven as well. Could just be caught out. Daisy's gone. Didn't even get a chance to be summoned as I pick up the Nox.
And Maven just sticks his head in where it doesn't belong. No priority in mid. You had the Jinx and the Annie looking to push back the waves, and he just had no right stepping up. Nox was there for the punish, and punish he did. Just locks down Maven, gets the kill, and everything going right for the side of Ground Zero Academy. And look at that gold lead, ballooned out to about 3k, and just looking for answers on the side of Roundtable.
Look, and so much of that is sitting on top of not only this top laner, look at the CS difference as well. Wonka really stepping up to the limelight this afternoon. But it's nice to see as well, it's across the board too. It's also on Nox, it's also on Polmus. They're all feeling quite good about this. And even mid, it's even on Sheen.
Yeah, everyone's just massive on the side of Ground Zero Academy, and that's going to translate into those items. We'll see what they do get off this back. Again, we were talking about that breakpoint for the Ezreal. If he is able to stay ahead, probably get something like that Serelda's Grudge online before the itemization could really come through for these frontliners, then it's going to do so much damage. It doesn't matter that he's hitting the front line. He still does just more than enough. And this Jinx really, really looking for that Yuntal to actually start to be effective. So a lot of timings, unfortunately, just not quite being hit for this comp for Roundtable. And there maybe would have been just a world where you should have just given up those grubs, given the situation, but Maven stuck his head in, paid dearly, and now they're just falling even further and further behind.
Yeah, I actually made a clinical error. It's actually, they did get the 6 grubs over on GZ Academy. It was actually the dragon that they had already secured. I thought because they were already there, I was like, oh, they've secured it, it's fine. No, all 6 grubs picked up for GZ, which is absolutely massive, and now they're posturing very heavily down towards this drag. GZ Academy have got absolute control of this game.
Yeah, yeah. So actually, yeah, of course they did pick up the 6 grubs after the catch on Maven. They're even going to pick up this dragon, which feels like it should be illegal, but at this stage, there's just no contest here. Jinx things.
Oh, that was so close. Almost. Look, there might have been an accident, and I would have had to take 5 minutes or something if that hit.
I've actually been playing a decent amount of Jinx, and the steal is, they've nerfed it for sure, but it's still possible. It's still doable.
Yeah.
Feels really nice when you hit it.
I've been stealing dragons with Kaiser's Void Seeker, mate. It's bloody fun as.
Pretty good. But speaking of Jinx, does have the Yuntal online, so that's the first big item breakpoint for the Jinx, where she is able to actually try to contest some of these fights. Happy second maybe caught here by Darkness and Willy Wonka, and the flash is going to get drawn out.
Has to burn that flash. Always makes sense the second you see that rel, second you see Darkness. Sadly, it's not actually a paranoia coming from a Nocturne. It's just a rel with big mechanical horse.
Big mechanical indeed. And we have a bit of a lull state here as both sides are just looking for the next objective, which probably will be that probably will be the next dragon that spawns in 4 minutes time. So we're just kind of chilling until then. Of course, the Herald about 1 minute 30 away, and we'll see where the priority lies here for both sides. I think the one thing we didn't really touch on for the side of Roundtable is how do they start a fight without
really. Oh, you know how they're starting with an Annie flash ulti stun. That's all it is.
That feels, I gotta say, that feels terrible, because who's your target? It's kind of, I guess there's a Nox who probably will be in range to be flash stunned, but then he just presses R and all of the damage, the follow-up damage that comes through the Jinx doesn't really matter. Ivan can look for a Q, so as this comp falls further and further behind, it starts to feel really, really bad for the side of Roundtable, where I don't know if they have the ability to pull the trigger really ever.
I think what they'd be sort of hoping to do, and the best way I could see it, is they just need to be able to sit off in side lanes, keep it in like a 1-3-1 sort of situation where they might be able to win in the side lanes too. But at the same time, you're still just losing to the whole team, so it's so much harder to do that.
Yeah, I think what we're probably seeing here, because we were talking about this in draft, and I kind of put the pieces together from what I imagine Roundtable were thinking. They saw Willy Wonka and Bessa, they saw Nox, and they thought, okay, if one guy goes in alone, then for sure we blow up that one guy, and then Jinx gets resets and wins the fight. But what does that look like when you're behind? And what does that look like when you're the one being forced to make the proactive plays? And you've kind of ended up with a comp that it's good at one very specific thing, which is guy goes in alone, makes a mistake, you kill that one guy. But if that doesn't happen, then your comp just doesn't really do anything. And unfortunately, I think they're going to get drowned out of this game. And Nox is probably going to find himself in Annie.
Oh, but nah, Quillen does have that stun. Bear goes out. Cheeky little Tibbers. The heal comes in too. But Nox, 3-0 now. Sundered Sky in tow is pretty easy for those pickings. Maven, though, looking to take something back. Nice sidestep, and they can secure first tower, and easy.
Nox has gotten really, really good over the years. Remember, the improvement that this guy has shown, we first saw them way back in the amateur scene. You're playing pretty much only the aggressive junglers in things like the Xin Zhao on the Weekend Warriors, and then his time in the LCO was, let's say, patchy at times, where he would be farming where his team probably needed him. And now in this game, just knows exactly what he needs to do, has not really fallen behind in farm at all, but has just been really the driving force, been in every single lane where he's been needed, and has been basically putting the team on his back, making sure that they can make the plays. And now, push in mid lane, it is going to be transitioned probably up towards that Rift Herald, and they can just continue to open up the map on the side of the Ground Zero Academy. It's a really good first showing in their first game.
Yeah, absolutely. OCC already putting in the goods. These teams, they pick up that mid tower, just securing even more.
Clown.
What was that? Where'd the clown go? He hopped in his little car and drove away at this point, because that's just absolutely disgusting damage coming out of Sheen. Rift Herald should be an easy pickup, but Weapon, this game's looking pretty dire, and it just feels like the cleaner team draft is coming up with the goods.
Yeah, this game is just exploding, and it goes back to that draft, right? How do you start a fight? How do you look for some sort of in this game when you fall apart, when the game falls apart early? And Clown just exploded. Just not even, there's nothing you could do. I mean, did have the flash, of course, so could have maybe messed around and lived with that, but took the shockwave, took the QW, and just completely blown up by Shine, who's actually gone for Leandries. So this is not the high burst damage Orianna, and even with that 3-level lead, that's more than enough for him to just find enough damage to completely one-shot Clown. So a bit of a sign of things to come, and this is where you start to have that conversation. Yes, this comp potentially had the ability to blow up one person going in. If you're this far behind, there's no reason you can't just full send.
Yeah, that's it. 5.5k gold at this point. It's looking pretty rough. Dragon has spawned. It's actually a Hextech Soul. We haven't touched on that just yet, though. Weapon, what do you think about that one? Do you like the mobility it gives with those tunnels?
The thing it's probably going to give you as well is just the ability to make those catches. You've got the Orianna, you've got the Ezreal Poke, land that chain lightning once you get to the Soul, and you are going to be able to just run someone down, have Nox, Willy Wonka throw themselves into the fight, and then just the target probably dies from there if the game continues at this rate. So
wait, what just happened? Replay that. I just missed the whole thing. Please. I heard a ping in Discord, and then he stole it. No way did he just ulti that. What? Clown.
Yeah, I was just not looking at all, because I thought that was just a free Drake. So we just talked about the Jinx rocket steals, and it just manifested itself. And also, Happy died in the top lane. How did that happen?
What is going on? We gotta get a replay of that.
Yeah.
We gotta get a replay, because I don't know what just happened. If we can't, that's okay. That's fine, but still.
We can see our production looking for it, so they're just as confused as we are. That's so good. Shout out, by the way, we've got Metaphase on the production, and Nakoya. I don't know him by his real name. I don't want to just dox him on stream, but on numbers 1 through 5 and Q through T on the keyboard. Doing an absolutely incredible job. Unfortunately, we missed a couple of kills there, and there's just a lot going on here.
And that's fine. Look, we can miss kills, we can miss big snipes, as long as the games are good. And thus far, I'd say the game's, it's all right. It's feeling a little bit one-sided, though, Weapon, and that's okay, because sometimes you get those games. It's just like First Stand, our boys CFO, big kisses to you guys. They've been playing awesome over there, but still, We want to see some action. I want to see some awesome team fights. I want to see Maven actually do something on this Ivern, because right now it's just fallen further and further behind, and this is the Nox effect. Oh my god, wait, hold on. Aquilin could get stunned up, but no, nice pick up. Look at the damage! What was that? Throws over the blast cone. Aquilin trying to stay alive, but look at Maven now too. Stunned up, taking a lot of damage, sidesteps the barrage, and they're trying to catch out Polmos. But still, big fight. Really good engages coming in from Nox.
Yeah, really good stuff, and didn't really commit a lot of anything there. It was just that Xin Zhao ultimate, which is just going to be off cooldown very, very shortly. They're just making pressure plays across the map. They have the Ambessa in the bot lane, constantly pushing in the bot lane, has the TP available to join any plays if absolutely required. Orianna up towards the top, and anytime someone pokes their head into the jungle, they say absolutely not, get the hell out. And that means that they've had full control of this river for so long. They can just completely take this Atacon for free. It's going to be the Voracious version, so free GAs. And I talked about the ability to full send at this point when you're this far ahead, and it has crept up to a 7k gold lead. That just gets worse now. I think there's nothing preventing you from just looking for that big grouped up fight, potentially lure them in around the dragon, 2 minutes time if you really want to wait for it. How long does Atacon buff actually last for?
I thought it was like 2
not
minutes
that long.
or 2-3 minutes. It's not long, no.
Yeah, so it won't be that long, so you can just full send in the next couple of minutes and then use that space to secure vision around the dragon and actually set up. Or just honestly, just siege mid lane.
Yeah, I think sieging's probably the right call in my opinion, or at least just sending 4 down bot side and keeping 1 in the mid just to keep that pressure on.
That's
you can see Polmos is throwing out not even just little rushes, it's just daggers at this point because it's hurting. But still, Raccoon now taking on a little bit of a fight, trying to 2v1. They can dive. They have the Void Grubs. They can just push up. You have to see this Garen back off because they're just going to be melting everything here, Weapon.
Yeah, there's just nothing this Garen can do. He can stand there, he's a meatball, but he doesn't have any of that turn and burn ability. He's not a tank or anyone who can pull the trigger for his team. Neither is Happy Second. Maven has counter-engaged, yes, and now Happy Second getting teleported on.
TP getting the pullback. You do have the taking them straight to Brazil as well. Sheen's taking in 1. Big damage still coming out. This is the difference between a full burn Orianna versus a full shockwave Orianna. Because wow, an easy pickup even in Tokyo. And now the perfect public execution onto Maven. It's not going to get too much done, but they're going to try and push for it. Rift Herald's been summoned, but still in topside. Clown landing those zaps on. Can they get the stun off? But still, can they get the root? Nox has to back out. But now they've got a Rift Herald in tow. They have the Void Grubs. Get ready to see an absolute explosion of those little minions. Boom! They're everywhere. There should be another tower being picked up. They picked up another one in mid too. Weapon, this game's just looking like it's blown well open because they're looking to send this even further.
Yeah, it's doomed, guys. Unfortunately, I think we go next for Roundtable. There's not a lot you can do. There's no trigger pull you can look for. You're looking for just a mistake from the side of the round table, and I don't think you're going to see it. You're just going to get drowned out of this game. It's going to be a slow push, and every time they're making those pressure plays on the top side, there is a Polamos or a Willy Wonka or someone on the other side of the map pushing in the mid and bot lane. Wherever the play is not happening, someone is doing something, and this is so good for Ground Zero Academy at the early stage of this tournament to show this kind of prowess against opponents that we honestly thought would stand up against them.
Trying to get pulled back in. Happy Second is here. Raccoon as well. Might have to burn Flash, but no Flash available for Nox. But straight into it. Knows to go over to the drag, but wants to join back into this fight as they're going for even more. The redemption comes down, but Aquilin's so long. Really won't be able to pick up that little kill. But look at Shine. So close to dying. And now Darkness is trying to stay alive. This could be the first death over on the side of GZ. The rest of them are absolutely popping off. Another one goes over. Looks like Sheen is going to die. Nox is low. Polmos is low. They're just trying to hold out for a little bit longer. But Polmos got the final. The public execution. It's still the double kill for Polmos. Wonka's going absolutely insane and wants to pick up Maven. And it ends up being a 2-for-4 weapon and a free drag.
That was an incredible fight by Ground Zero Academy, especially by Polamos there, just playing the margins on this Ezreal. We haven't really talked about him a lot. It is the lethal tempo version of the Ezreal, which was popularized lately, and it popped off in that fight. Just pumping out the damage, staying with that lethal tempo stacked up alongside the passive means that you do huge amounts of damage to this front line, and you're just dancing with them, just throwing out the Qs, and the team was playing it back and forth, just making sure that they can keep this Ezreal in damage range. And Finally, they're going to win the fight. They do trade that 1 kill back, but at this stage of the game, it just doesn't feel like it's going to be enough. It's still that 10k gold lead. It's still everyone cresting their third items, and even the Ezreal has just picked up that Serelda's Grudge. So the amount of damage that he does to his frontline is just going to be massive, and there's just no one who can really keep up. This game is just done.
It's over. Over Red Rover. It's almost that beautiful 10k gold lead. If there was a Yasuo, they'd be 0-10 at this point. It's just looking done. But still, they need to close out. They need to get the Nexus. Baron has spawned. This should be a bit of a free one as Polmos now posturing quite aggressive with Quillen. Still, Barrage does go down. Ooh, even a Barrage did that much.
Yeah, got the 3 items online, does the Ezreal, so he hits like a truck full of trucks. And Nox and Darkness, they don't care that the Voracious Artican has gone down. They can just look for these plays over and over again. Raccoon is gonna eventually die.
Gonna get knocked up. Redemption's there, but stuns going all the way through. It's not gonna be enough. Oh, as they do throw a big bit of judgment down, but can they pick it up? Aquila, no way, does not survive. He gets the shield. It's the super mega death rocket doesn't secure the kill. Where's the damage on this Jinx? It feels non-existent, and still Nox gets out. 1 HP is absolutely ridiculous.
And that was the highest value Xin Zhao.
Oh my god, public execution is there, going for a little bit more. Quillen is 1 HP, gets hit down by Sheen, but now they're looking for even more. Where did that Jinx go?
Just can't do anything here. Every time you step up, there is someone ready to pull the trigger and look for the fight. And now it's going to be Baron going over. Nox has reset, got all of his resources back. That Crescent Guard blocked everything. Literally everything. And this is the problem with the comp. There is no one to close the gap. So once you pull that trigger and you try and look for that fight, you don't have any hard CC to lock anyone down. Nox just presses R and you throw all of your ranged attacks at him, and he just laughs because you can't lock this guy down. You can't hold him in place so that when that damage comes through, he's vulnerable because he just walks away and it's completely fine. And this is true of every single member on Roundtable, with the exception of the Annie. And the Annie just can't afford to flash in because she just dies.
Before we even get to items, I want to talk really quickly. What was a 9k gold lead has now turned into a 13k gold lead very quickly. Very disgusting. But look at Nox. Look at his build. He's got a Serpent's Fang. Could get picked up here as he gets pulled into 3 members.
Okay.
Nox is going down low. Judgment is available. Good shutdowns picked up. Nox taken off the board. But it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world because you still have Willy Wonka pushing in the top side. You've still got the Oriana working on the bot wave. So yes, Clown is going to be able to clear this out. That's a decent amount of damage gone down onto the top lane tier 2, or tier 3 rather. And even your mid lane is just getting brutalized by Polymos. So you're losing your entire base for Nox in trade. Shine.
And all alone. Field of Dreams is calling. This does get pulled back in. Redemption is there. Happy second is still low. Getting pulled down a lot. The burn damage is looking good. Sheen picks it up. It's a 2v1 fiasco. Maven's got no damage. He's not going to be able to do anything. And here comes Wonka. Mega Death Rocket hits Wonka instead. Not looking for Sheen, but now Maven's caught. It's a tree caught between a robotic woman and a wall. And sadly, that's not the place this tree wants to be, because you're cutting down wood. You're cutting down trees, but you could get stunned up, slowed up, but it's going to be enough as the damage is there. Sheen is happy with that one.
There's just no damage on Roundtable. Even when they catch someone outside of their territory, it's just, you just can't do anything. The 1 kill on Nox is all you get, and it's because of the Garen. He's also likely running the Axiom Arcanus rune, so the ult does do a decent amount of damage, but you can see the number of times he's been able to use that thing. It just hasn't really amounted to a lot. And now, just a victory march for Ground Zero Academy, always pushed. They are in the enemy base. This one is absolutely done. It's just time to put a bow on it, and Nox probably just gets to go in, ER, and his team just follows up with the damage.
Yeah, and a pretty clinical game it has been for GZ Academy, looking to close this one out. There's the flash spin to win, but it's going to be enough. Raccoon does try to get Pomos, but no, the shields are good. They're doing everything. Wonka picks up Annie. It looks like Aquilin can't survive this one. The shutdown does go over. Look at the damage coming in, though. Sheen's gone. They're turning this one around. It's a double kill heading over, but the shutdown does pick up Sheen. Happy second. Happy with the second pickup there, too. The towers are still being melted by these minions. The Force is walking forward. Nox, their most fed member. Wonka as well wants some more. They're looking for these kills. They want to pick up the ace, and it's going to be a big fight for Wonka. Holding out, the flash comes through, just trying to survive. The shields are good. The double kill for Nox. 5-1-5, and an easy first win in the OCE for GZ Academy.
Ground Zero Academy just run the map from start to finish, and once this composition from Roundtable fell behind, there was just nothing they could do at all to force the fights. Nothing going their way, and the early lane exploded, and Nox was everything for the side of Ground Zero Academy. He was keeping up in farm, he was ganking every single lane, and the Ivern just had nothing to say about it. And I loved the idea from Roundtable. I saw what they were going for. It was this counter-engage composition, but when it fell behind, nothing was able to come to the fights.
And that's the difference, right, between a good draft and a great draft, is you can have a good-looking team on paper. You can say, this is our goal, this is the identity. But at the same time, if you have a team that is just so clear on their vision, especially with a jungler that can move around, get things done, not a support jungler, it is a full damage, I'm ready to fight with you, and your team is mirroring that exact same energy, man, that's the difference. And I just feel like it was that slight draft diff. The Garen, I feel like, didn't make the most sense. I can understand the Mordekaiser going up there into the Ambessa. It makes sense that they're looking to skirmish pretty hard. But Garen felt like a bit of, maybe not even a pocket pick, but just like just trying to get it going and see if they could get something. It just didn't pop up till 3 items.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of criticisms that can be leveled at that draft. Like I said, I understand the idea, but then you're looking at picks like, maybe like a Silas in the mid lane would have given you a bit more. There's a couple of decent ornaments you could have stolen, and Crescent Guard would have been a really good tool to have on a Silas in that particular game to give space for the Jinx to work. And then you've got things like Poppy, which, yes, it's been nerfed in the support role, but I think blocking the potential engages from the Xin Zhao and having another engage tool of your own in the support or potentially even top lane would have been something you could have played for. But unfortunately, they just gave themselves not a lot of options when they fell behind. And Ground Zero, they played the early game really well. They transitioned to a mid lane, and what we saw from them macro-wise was also just consistent and solid. So this is a team we might have our eyes on. They may look like a bit of a threat moving through the tournament.
Well, GZ have won LCO and tournaments before. It's not anything new to see them win.
This is Ground Zero Academy, though. We're tempering the expectations. This is a little bit, but it is Ground Zero.
It says Ground Zero. We'll stick with that.
Yeah, sure.
But now we got another game coming up, though. Weapon, you still got us for one more game, guys. It is UQ LOL versus Jesus Loves All. That's still a name and a half, but still,
that's a lot.
We're going to go on a short break. We'll be right back with game number 2. Stick around. We're going to have a bit of fun. See you there.
Q.
Yeah, well, we're live. Okay, sorry,
bud.
I'm actually watching the wrong stream. That's why I was watching the Twitch chat. I was so good, like, oh, sorry.
Okay.
Weapon,
Nice.
we're here. Don't worry about me.
That's okay.
I'm trying to chat with chat. Welcome back, guys, to the OCC. Game number 2 of the night. Weapon, first game was pretty good. I'd say it's a good showing of what we're expecting to see. Probably some really good teams. Some teams that have still got a couple kinks to work out. What are you hoping for this next one? Because it's UQ LOL versus Jesus Loves You All.
I don't know. I think Jesus Loves All probably come in and they're probably coming in the much stronger team. Let's be honest, because there's a lot of familiar names on here. We know that there's more competitive experience. Masessa, name I remember, I can't remember which team was in the ODT, I think. Han, of course, was on Ground Zero Academy, a bit of a utility merch in the jungle, very good Sejuani player. Imogen and Prion is the one I'm looking at there in particular. Prion, very good at a lot of those more aggressive AD carry picks. We've seen his Lucian kind of pop off a few times before. And Spirit, I'm assuming that this is the Spirit who was on Ion Academy, now playing in the support role. A very mechanically adept player. So, yeah, expecting big things out of this squad. Whereas the UQ LOL squad, as we mentioned, FTR, that sort of iconic player for the squad, is waiting in the wings on the support role. But this is a brand new roster. So we just...
Ooh, I do love Soli. There's the ward going out. Kane as well, having to back off real quick. Actually, we've seen Kane before.
What? Sorry?
Kane, the Rel. That's Kane.
Oh, it's Kane, of course. So this is another one of those classic members.
Yeah,
so
and FTR's top. FTR's Irelia.
Oh my god.
That changes
we've been
everything.
Trolled by the graphics. Incredible. That makes a lot of sense why we've actually seen the Irelia come out there.
Yeah.
Now, FTR has been one of those members on the old UQ LOL squad that was responsible for manufacturing some of those early game leads. And his Irelia, while it does overextend the side lanes and often leads to that UQ loss con, unfortunately, but it has been the reason why they've had some of those good early games. So potentially into this Rumble matchup, Rumble's a champion who can get, kind of overwhelmed by the Irelia.
Yep.
There is the angle. So we'll see if they can pull it off. But right now, Kane, forward aggressive positioning, has found himself a bit of a trade. And we're going to throw some auto attacks at each other. And eventually we're going to walk back and go, yep, cool. Good job, everyone. And we hit the wave.
Yay. Classic 80 carries, am I right? Auto attacks only. That's the only thing you need. I like this aggression out of Yone. This is actually a bit of a rough matchup for the Yone, like I mentioned in the draft. Do you know much about this matchup, Weapon?
In the mid lane?
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely a little bit Yone favored, I think, in the early going, because you've just got that little bit more agency. Of course, if the Azir is able to play the poke game pretty well, then he is able to find the angles to sort of whittle down the Yone. But I think that increased agency to take the trades as the levels come in is going to swing it slightly in the favor of the Yone. And then, of course, level 6 and jungle intervention from the junglers starts to make the Yone feel a bit more good. And then it's kind of anyone's game from there about who lands the ultimates and when, and jungle intervention. So I guess this is a long-winded way of saying probably even some game. Of course, the one thing that is probably true is that the Azir does just generally get better access to the wave, so he just holds the push, and then it's about Yone getting those trades back in, which will probably favor him. So I'm thinking out loud.
Love it.
Speaking of struggling, King Boomy and Kane under their tower, but suffering an Ash Renata.
We all know how this story goes. King Boomy concedes Omashu to the Fire Nation, but will come back to do more. I'm going to stay positive for this team, as that looks like an Ignite going down. Masessa actually getting a lot of damage off. The flash comes out. FTR, the double flash. There's the bird. The fire spin is going to go dead.
Why?
First blood. Masessa very happy with that. And this is the FTR. Rinse and repeat from UQ.
Yep. Unfortunately, it does look pretty early in the early going, but then just that one bit of over-aggression, classic stuff by FTR. Right?
Looking for a little bit.
Prion.
Just auto attacks up. Kane looking pretty low. Heal comes out. The flash is forward. Secures the kill. Could be a twofer as they do secure it. Feats of War Weapon and
easy as you like. The team that we predicted taking the early game. So even the early game lead's not going to manifest here for UQ, and up towards the top side, it was FTR, had the Ignite thrown down on him by Masessa and decided to go back in. And then the bot lane has just been ruled by Prion and Soli, who are just they have the range advantage. They have an Ashe, so anytime the trade is started, it can be extended by an Ashe who just will walk you down. And it's not looking particularly good for UQ LOL in this early game, and we know what the comp looks like as the game goes on. So we're really looking for those early game plays, and I don't think we're going to find them.
Yeah, look, I think it's waiting for level 6 now, seeing what the pick potential is going to look like. I want to have the benefit of the doubt, you know? Like, I want King Boomy to pop off, because, again, he takes back Omashu. Spoiler alert, but now it looks like Kane could be caught out. Handshake does go up to the side, but Radiohead wants to keep fighting, sending those radio waves deep into the enemy jungle. Kane is already at half health. Looks like Suli's coming in just to keep doing a little bit more. This could just be another free kill. Radio, this is just how the game's going to be. It's going to be a bloodbath.
Nerf Skarner, by the way, post-nerf, and still able to do things like that. Are we going with Radiohead or are we going with Han? Because I think if Radiohead is the name of this player moving forward, that's really cool.
I like Radiohead.
I really like that. So yeah, let's go with Radiohead. Why not?
Yeah.
It is, of course, Han.
Okay.
Imogen getting traded on. No mana.
No mana, but auto attacks are pretty good. But here comes Radiohead. It's even more. Oh my god, the render's beautiful.
It's just, you can't do a whole lot about that once you have no mana. Really big overcommit by Revenite. We haven't talked about it. It is going to be the Grasp version of the Azir, so looking to probably go towards that that Rift Maker for a little bit of extra survivability. Potentially we'll be playing a bit more on the side lanes, but just unfortunately overcommitted there and was just cut down by the rotating members in Soli and Radiohead.
Wait, actually, Weapon, hold on. Real quick,
Yeah.
when did TP get reverted back so you could TP to minions and stuff before the timer?
Like,
When
it's
did
been
that
like
happen?
It's been like that since the start of the season. That was the change they made.
I've been
You've
still
been
like
hitting
TPing
towers
to
this whole
towers
time?
and stuff. Yeah, oh man.
Oh,
Well, honestly,
man.
when I'm TPing back early in the game, I'm not TPing to a wave because I've shoved it in and it
It's
speaks
because
slow
you've
push
just
back
got
to
the
me.
kill.
Oh
Obviously.
no, I wouldn't say that. My laning
you've
phase has
definitely
been
just
pretty
got the
rubbish.
kill. I've seen you do
Yeah,
it.
all right. Let's stick
Yeah.
with that then. Oh, Void Grubs are up though. Looking like a pretty easy objective is your 2k gold ahead for Jesus loves all. Amen, brother.
Yeah, and now they're even going to take the swap, so priority on the top side can be picked up by the Ashe and Renata. FTR's woes continue as he's going to be just catching his wave on the tower. One thing I will say is that Aurelia is one of the better champions to secure farm under the tower because she gets to do things like this, but she's also going to be catching the wave outside, so going to be setting up a bit of a slow push, or what would be one if she was in a solo lane. Remember when we removed lane swaps?
Yeah. I guess it's
remembers.
past 5 minutes, so you don't get the timer and you don't get the punishment at all, which kind of rough still. But now they're just shoving this in. Can't hold a wave when you got two members very happy with this. They could be looking for the dive. FTR gets hit with the handshake, but it's not a handshake you're after. Suli is low. FTR might
No
survive.
flash.
Radiohead gets healed up. It's Suli happy with that, but oh, just the failed dive is rough.
And no level 6 on Radiohead meant that the Impale was never going to come through, so FTR decided to take his chances. No flash or teleport to his name. He's going to be hanging around, maybe trying to leech off some experience, maybe catch a couple of minions as the wave starts to die. This is very sketchy. He's even going to take a W for his trouble.
Look, the scary part here is we saw FTR had a massive lead on top of Masessa. So Rumble moving down was probably the best call this team did. A proactive move away from the lane to give them that freedom. They have actually caught back up. They were 30 CS down. Now they're only about 12.
Yeah, and like I said, FTR on the Aurelia, very good champion to play just under the tower, secure every bit of farm. Of course, like you said, it's the lane swap after the 3-minute mark, so this just makes it a good macro move. And
Oh my
Boom
god.
Kane,
Masessa's level 6 too. Equalizer gets dropped. King Boomy already hitting them with the ignite, but the damage is there. Radiohead's got the damage. Impale is
Impale.
looking good too. They can't give it over, but Radiohead's very happy with that pickup.
really nicely done. Just swoops in. Radiohead, just like Yojin in that previous game, has just been in the right places at the right time and hasn't really suffered in the farm department. And now Imogen with that kill lead, even going to snap out of the way of the Azir ult. Really sick.
Those are beautiful, like, the respect there too, being like, yeah, didn't see that coming. The Empress Divide doesn't land. Kane and Suli happy to... Is it Suli or Soli? It's Soli.
So it's Soli. It's not...
Yeah.
This
Why did I
is
say
not-
Suli?
As far as I'm aware, this is not the ex-LCO Soli player who his name
Okay.
ended in I. This is a completely different guy who
That
we
makes
did
sense.
see on, I believe it was Ion Academy at
Yes.
one point.
Yes.
as part of that roster alongside Prion. So completely different player, always played support, and has looked pretty damn good doing it. Now on the
Yeah.
Renata, 0-0-4, and is probably going to be just a huge factor with that ultimate in later team
Yeah.
fights.
Honestly, I or Y, every Soli, Suli I've seen is always popping off, and
They're
we
all
love
pretty good. Good players.
it. Now it's coming down into a little bit of a lull, as it is just solid leads being picked up, 6 kills to 0. Very similar to our last game, in fact, where it was just that dominating side. Red side seems to be the prio poppers. Yone now looking to come down. Imogen wanting to look for a Fate Seal that is available. No TP available, but Flash is there.
It does have all the tools basically available on the side of Jesus Loves All, JLA.
JLA.
With the exception of that flash on the Rumble, and now has rotated the Rumble up towards the top side. They've got the Faded Ashes, so that those trades are going to be, the short trade's going to be that little bit extra spice on them. As Radiohead, every time we see this guy, he's just pressing E, he's running forward.
Yeah, love it.
Oh, that's
no way. You sadly lose the big piece of damage. Trying to get that stun off with a fully alone Ashe. Just not going to be able to do it. Chains of Corruption. You hate to waste that, especially with a Yone that could just rotate down. But Void Grub's a coming up weapon. That's probably going to be the priority for this side.
Yep, and it looks like it's probably going to be uncontested. You made the right play of putting the Rumble up towards the top side. He's going to be there.
Oh, the flash forward! Oh, there's the cease and desist right under tower. Nice pickup. That's what we want to see from this UQ roster.
Okay, Prion. Luku, if we can go with that, makes the play towards the bot side, knowing that the grubs were definitely going to be taken by Radiohead. Just looks for the proactive cross map and manages to pick up a kill, a shutdown going over onto Prion. So really nicely played. This is going to give themselves some extra plate money going into the boxes their bot lane as well. So keep this one relatively competitive. And we've talked about it, I think, ad nauseum at this point, but it does feel like they need to find those early advantages on the side of UQ to keep this one competitive, because once the team fights happen, they don't get to interact with their opposite numbers.
That's right. Side note, the skin that Yone's using is not a good skin.
Okay, Kale, yep.
Yeah, let's look at that. So this is in fact the Battle Academia skin.
Battle Academia, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Not very good.
Why don't we like it?
It's not like their best skin. The best skin is actually his new skin, which is like it's like something mask or something, like faded mask or something. They're sick. You look like a Power Ranger, and it's tight. So I love that skin.
That's really cool. Yeah, the new Sentai skins.
Yeah. He is basically a Power Ranger, and I was just like, you know what? I back this skin. Like, I back it better than the Prestige one, which costs like $250.
So
like,
Vi has just completed a recall. Sorry to cut you off, because this is very important. But Vi has just completed a recall, and Radiohead's down towards the bot side. There's a pink ward, so now they know. Presence noted, but I think they just ripped the cord on the dive, and we'll see if Kane can outplay.
No arrows available, but King Boomy gets impaled back, just pulling out the damage as well. TP locking in as well. Berserk from Kane. Is it going to be enough? King Boomy survives. It's a huge trade. Now Revenant is here. Flash is going forward. It looks like FTR wants to get the stuns off, but Vanguard's edge not going to be enough damage as Revenant is going straight back in. Soli is taken down to the passive, but they have to back out. Revenant actually secures the kill. UQ is doing it, and Imogen as well. And now Ale wants to get a little bit more damage off, but being pushed back. They're looking low. The shutdown does go over to King Boomy, looking for more. Radiohead picks up one. It's a tank Skarner versus a big Irelia. It should be cleanup crew for UQ. They're coming back in this game, and they reset the gold weapon.
They reset everything, and the big play there was the ultimate from King Boomy, stopping the Skarner in their tracks, and Luku might be able to catch Masessa here.
No,
definitely has the damage.
Oh, Luku's happy with that. Good kills across the board. Technically an unofficial ace.
Yeah, technically a 3-for-3 in the fight. There was an early kill, so yes, you're exactly right. It's an unofficial ace, and a reset of the way this game has played out thus far. Really, really nicely played there by UQ, and particularly by King Boomy, to catch the Skarner with the ultimate, stop the engage, and then caught under the tower. Yes, the Impale did come through, but they were able to fight their way out and make it really awkward, especially for Freon, who's just caught on the wrong side of the map. And now a bit of a reset's going to come out. We'll see whether UQ can keep this pressure up and sort of keep, well, I say pressure, they're still under pressure, But whether they can keep their head above water and maybe go into these fights around objectives just a little bit even as Boomy finds it again.
Hold on, that's absolutely smashing, but you have to reset. No, King Boomy's locking it down. Massive. This is the Varus technology, though. You actually rushed to Ginsu's. What?
Yeah, that's a bit odd. We've been seeing a bit more of the Ginzu's rush. This E is not going to find the distance, so this is just Radiohead pushing his way so they can reset for some control around the bot side. As Masessa, probably dead. No, he's fine. No flash on the Aurelia. So that's twice in a row where King Boomy has been the difference maker for UQ with that Varus ult in particular. This time it was Prion sticking his face in just a little bit too far, and a Varus ult hit it, and that was all she wrote. So maybe a player we're looking at to have the impact for the side of UQ.
Yeah, it almost feels like it's not so much like the team comp on Jesus Loves All. Yes, absolutely astonishing. Like, this is Exodia level comp. But we're seeing a little bit of a hands diff. We're just seeing UQ just like playing champions they're comfortable with and sort of running it back and saying, we can lock this down. As there goes, Big Cloud trying to get that vision out. Locking it down, FTR. Handshake just misses on the side of Surly, but here comes Radiohead trying to lock down this Aurelia. Might not be able to get to it as they are looking very low. Vanguard's Edge just go out straight onto the Ashe, but it's not enough. Solely happy with that and getting a Solely little kill. But now Masessa could be in trouble. Oh, Emperor's Divide, but there's a big equalizer doing damage, and you're taking up the tower, and it's a 1-for-1 trade.
And it is a trade, but it is a bunch of kills going over across the map there in the top side. FTR just ran down, and in the bot, it was the Azir going down, unfortunately, to the dive. Masessa traded in turn, and they are going to pick up that first tower. So where are we at with the feats, by the way? They did go over to Jesus Loves All because of the early kills.
It did go to Jesus Loves All, and I can tell you why, because they just got the...
Oh no. You've lost your feed? Okay. Nah.
No way.
And it's going to get the kill. Okay,
oh
Imogen.
My God.
All right. Yes. Everything is fine. First day on the broadcast, it's all good. Imogen getting healed up. Going to be walking down Kane.
Oh my God.
And that's come in after the arrow landed. So unfortunately, that is just death.
Yeah, it's pretty. That's pretty unfortunate if I'm going to be honest. Sadly, guys, I think my webcam has just decided to cark it, so you might not be able to see me after the game, but that's okay. Solly as well. Oh, has to flash that one. Revenant Knight's here. Ashe flashing out too. FTR being chased down. Kited even, but they still get out of dodge.
Okay, so UQ LOL, despite a bit of a rough early game, I think the point you made about a bit of hands diff, maybe just kind of egoing a bit. FTR looking for these plays. Yes, he got caught overextending in the top side, but for the most part, it kind of just feels like they're very happy to try and look for these plays. And I don't know what King Boomy is building, but with the way he's been playing, I support it. This is my Monarch.
Oh man, King Boomy. Oh, you're Monarch? Oh, you're Earth Nation, aren't you? I knew it.
I guess. I don't know. Yeah, he's a king. That was the bit I went with, and I think it worked out for the best. It's Revenite looking for a trade on Masessa.
Plugged in my classic. My audio seems to be cooked.
Apparently, we've lost Pike. Oh no, we're good. All right,
I'm here.
We're getting the play-by-play from production. As Prion and Radiohead going to just team up to take down this dragon. So trading across the map really nicely as both sides. This dragon stacking up for Jesus Loves All, whereas this Herald likely going to go down. Although the contest is potentially possible.
100%
do still have that Ashe arrow. Do have the Renata hostile takeover.
I feel like they need to make a play, but no, FTR trying to take it on. Oh my lord, too much. Sadly, that's what happens when you put a Blades lady versus a guy with two swords. It's not going to end too well. But now they go straight back onto the Rift Herald. They can't really contest with that FTR in the side lane weapon.
Yeah, FTR just kind of taking over this matchup, had a couple of rough early kills, and now Blade of the Ruin King online, full build on the Aurelia, as we like to say, and that's been a really good run of plays, and Ashe Arrow is going to land, but unfortunately not going to amount to much, but it does get the cleanse out of King Boomy, so next time you have that bit of crowd control that's going to land on the Varus, could potentially be sticking, could potentially be a dead Varus.
Cleanse pretty short cooldown though, weapon, and that's okay.
It sure is.
So I wouldn't be too worried because the Ashe Arrow is quite an extensive cooldown. but there's that sort of slight window you have to hope for. But Tower's going down. It's looking pretty good. Gold is actually ahead for UQ. Do they pull the UQ and just sort of get tilted out of their mind and lose late game?
Yeah, what we're looking for is definitely some macro blunders, having one person overextend way ahead of the tempo of the rest of their team, get cut down, and then repeat that process several times. And Revenite might be the first to fall, as he is going to be able to Shurima shuffle away. But that is the mistake. And speaking of...
Oh, the Impale, beautiful pick up. The double flashes, though, Luku just trying to get onto this Yone, but now Radiohead's chasing them down. Level down, but not to be too worried. But again, really exciting game. Oh, Masessa's joining this party now too. Equalizer available, Ignite, and Flash too. Kane joining the party as well. Does get the stun out. Just getting a good reset. And like I was saying, both these teams are actually playing really well, Wesman.
Yeah, both playing really well, but we did kind of will that one into existence where FTR was going forward, managed to run smack bang into the Skarner. Now Boomy is going to be probably the next victim.
Boomy about to go boom, but Suli, they just didn't get the kill. It's just not enough, and Boomy picks up one in a 3v1 trade. Big kill heading over to the Skarner as well. Radiohead 6-2, got that heart steal online. He's stacking.
Yeah, absolutely, but this is going to be the tower going down in the favor of Jesus Loves All. So all said and done, they do continue to advance their lead on the map. They also have the Yone.
Whoa!
Yone?
Hold the phone. That's a lot of damage coming up. Masessa has to burn that flash just into the wrong side of the wall. Cease and assist, locks it down. Luku getting stronger. 4-1 with a black cleaver is looking good.
Masessa is having a really rough game for himself. Every time we see him, it feels like he's getting locked down and killed by someone. That time it was a full commit by the Vi with the team following up. And I was going to point out that they had the Yone up towards the top side creating pressure, but it feels like with Masessa killed, that pressure doesn't really get to be kept up in the mid lane, so that means you have to rip the cord on that. And once again, we go back to a bit of a neutral state where both sides sitting on exactly the same goal, making about the same kinds of mistakes. And we have to go back to this comp, Pike, because we hyped up this comp for Jesus Loves All in the draft. And don't get me wrong, if you put this in the hands of like HLE, they win every single time.
That's right.
But unfortunately, what I think we've seen from Jesus Loves All is that this comp wants to teamfight, and they just haven't been given the opportunity to teamfight, because every time there's an opportunity to do so, FTR is in the side lanes being a bit of a menace. Revenite has gone for a bit of a tanky option, so he can stick in the side lanes just that little bit more. So despite what we thought was going to be a bit of a draft iffy, has been relatively well navigated by UQ LoL.
What are your actual thoughts as this mid tower looks like it could potentially go down, but nice securing there from the Ashe. What do you think about the hull breaker on the side of this Irelia? Second item rush.
Yeah, I think FTR knows exactly where his bread is buttered. It's side lanes. They absolutely cannot teamfight against this comp. That can't be stressed enough. So FTR has just gone for the straight up, I'm going to be in the side lane forever. Your top or bot lane is just going to be pushed. And even, I want to call it back again, Revenite going for the more tanky Azir option means that he's not really interested in being that big DPS threat you'll see from a Conqueror Azir where he goes for the Nashes. This is an Azir who is there to just clear waves, and just if he gets engaged on, he's able to shuffle out. We've seen that a couple of times from him already. So really looking to play the extremities of the map is UQ LoL. This is going to be potentially an issue as Dragons come in.
Going to get caught out, but no, Radiohead is locking them down too. Nice hostile takeover. The Impale as well. Cease and assist straight off this Ashe. Is the damage going to be enough? They need the reset. Luku picks up Ashe. Just got out the big Emperor's Divide on top of the Equalizer as well. FTR in this fight wanting to get anything done, but Radiohead picks up the kill as well. Emmingen is so good. The double kill, trying to get a little bit more. Kane running with a tail between their legs. The dragon is the prize, their weapon, and a great team fight from Jesus Loves All.
And team fights were always going to look good for this team. It got a bit sketchy. You could see the idea from UQ LoL. They wanted to try and get that pick, catch someone looking for a rotation into the dragon before the fight actually starts in earnest. But unfortunately, for the side of UQ LoL, there was a Renata there. She was able to press R. Hostile takeover just ripped through the fight, delayed the fight long enough, and even with the one kill traded back, it's just not enough. Dragon goes down, as does the Ruinous Artican, so a lot of petals going into the pockets of the side of Jesus Loves All. Going to be getting probably almost a whole level off that. And support XP being the really big deal for that. And you're also going to be stacking up towards soul points. So now a team fight comp that is in relatively good standing against a comp that really does not want a team fight, now probably going to be forced to do so in the next 5 minutes or so when that dragon spawns.
Yeah, no, and that's definitely what I was going to point out. It is that soul point. Ocean Soul as well weapon, which is just so good for this Skarner. Really good for Yone too, and probably even better for Ashe, because you have that little bit of extra healing. You don't need to go the Bork, because they've gone Crack and Hurricane. So I kind of like this. It means they can survive these fights just a little bit more, even with Vi just cease and desisting you every time.
Yeah, absolutely. Just getting that little bit of extra regen when that one member does find the ultimate on you gives you a little bit more sustain. Maybe you don't survive the fight, but you buy a little bit of extra time, and then that's extra time for things like the Impale to come through. I don't think the team fight was never going to be an issue for this squad, but that Ocean Soul definitely going to help a lot, and that feels like it makes the game pretty much unplayable, because even on the side lanes, you've got Imogen, who's going to be probably matching up against the Azir, and just having extra sustain against the Pote means that he's going to have a much better time. I also like the decision from Prion to go for the Runan's Hurricane, because not only are you facing against, what is this, quad melee on the side of UQ LoL, but it's also extra wave clear to create pressure in the mid lane. Make sure that you've just always got the push in mid, and there's always going to be a need for someone to respond to that rather than trying to overload side lanes. Revenite has done a decent job here of just taking control of the side lane, and it does mean that on the bot side, Radiohead's going to be able to move in, take over this bot side and get some vision here, and probably look for the Baron dance, because at this point, I think you could just win every single fight.
Yeah, a lot of items on board. It's interesting to see Yone's gone for that Stride Breaker too, just for that extra wave clear, especially into an Irelia and an Azir. You need to be able to clear those waves just a little bit faster. So I really like this sort of itemization we're seeing from Jesus Loves All. They're really wanting to hold on to this mid tower as best they can. Hurricane really helps them out with this, but yeah, they're posturing so heavily for a fight weapon.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all Jesus Loves All want to do, is hold on to that mid lane tower and look for a fight around the objectives. And the reason you don't want the mid lane tower to go down is because that's the runway. Once you've got mid lane tower open, you can start to push waves deeper in, you can start to get vision on the sides of the mid lane tower, and you can start to look for those picks on side lane members where you've got guys like FTR and Revenite who can take pretty favorable trades against their opposite numbers. And then when you add a Vi or a Rel coming in on the flanks to that trade, then it starts to look like a pick. So absolutely the game plan for the side of Jesus Loves All is hold on to that mid lane tower at all costs and try to just enforce your will around team fights. Now Revenite potentially caught here.
Oh, hit with a beautiful Ashe arrow. Equalizer just not up off cooldown. Cease and desist. They're going underneath the tower. It's a little bit of a late TP as the flash comes out from Necessa. Now they're trying to run away. Looks like Imogen wants to join this fight. Fate Sealed lands. It's a good shot, and Necessa picks it up with a cheeky little rocket. Great play coming out of Jesus Loves All.
And there it is, the attempt at the pick on the side lane, unfortunately just stuffed there as the teleport comes in from Imogen and the Fate Seal does land. So the plays that you do have start to kind of shrink here for the side of UQ LoL, and now with the Baron up and available, Necessa going to be resetting, probably just storming his way back onto the map with the Equalizer still available. Maybe a pick.
Oh, handshake. Not going to get it done. I think FTR is probably the goal hero. If you can pick up Kane, who is your engage, or Luku as well, would be so handy to pick up. But looks like they have to just back off. They tried to get that just little advantage, but weren't fast enough. Wait, what?
Oh, and you get the Varus ult too.
Yeah, that's not looking too good. Jin wants to go into this fight. Equalizer does go down. Looks like King Boomy getting flashed on. No, but it's not enough. He's dodging everything, and now Kane's gone back into the backline as well. Doing a lot of damage. There goes the redemption, but their Vanguard's edge hits. But they can't get even more. They're just so big. Necessa picks up FTR. That is like half your damage. King Boomy running. He's trapped in a metal box, if you ask me, because now Image's going forward, and Luku is trying to survive, but they're just taking up the tower. The Void Grubs are everything, and it is just a Skarner diff like every other game that Skarner is in. It's beautiful to see.
It's Skarner diff, and it's also just a really good re-engage. I think it was the Ashe arrow that was saved until the last minute. Didn't quite catch who that hit, but a lot was actually dodged out there. Imogen not quite getting the Fate Sealed where he wanted to. the hostile takeover was dodged away by King Boomy critically, and they were all able to kind of part like the Red Sea, but then the re-engage came through, and you just had enough down the stretch to get the damage down, have the chase come in from Prion on the Ashe to slow everyone up, and then just walk everyone down with the just consistent DPS. And now Baron going to be picked up, and if you had... Yeah, now it's, and you've got Ocean Soul. Didn't even see it.
Yeah, they were taking the Dragon as they were taking the Baron at the same time. The clash, like two for one swing.
Yeah, now the fights are probably just unplayable, and we really are looking at those side lanes trying to manufacture some sort of magic. FTR on the Aurelia has fallen behind at this stage, still sitting on that Hullbreaker and the Blade of the Ruin King, where you really want that third item online. It looks like it's going to be a Death's Dance as well, which I don't know it's going to be the item we really wanted here. If you're going to be matching up against the side lanes, really would have probably wanted to see something like a Wit's End, maybe against the Rumble, but I understand the thought, a little bit of survivability in the fights.
Weapon, there's an item in this game that I want you just to see if you can pick up on. You've sort of gone a little bit on the radar of it, but I realized it about 5 minutes ago. I was waiting for you to talk about it. Because hold on. As the fight's coming out, King Boomy could be caught out. Hostile takeover pulling King Boomy out. Still gets pulled in with a suppress. A lot of damage. Masessa's picking up all these kills now, but now they can just walk these guys out. FTR is low. Couple more hits should get it done. Solely happy to pick this up. 5 members strong. Baron in tow. Big Ocean Soul 2. The healing's ridiculous. They basically look like they've just started the fight, but they've already taken 2 members. They could be walking down this mid lane, taking the tier 3. Look at Radiohead. Just does not care who you are, where you're from. I will be with you because he wants blood. Imogen as well. Didn't even TP up top. But no, look at this Varus' build. What's weird about it?
Yeah, the Hexplate. I understand. I see what you're going for, but it is definitely a bit weird. We've seen this a lot on the top lane Varuses, I think. Whether you go for the more tanky option, you sometimes get the Jack Show in there, but yeah, definitely a bit strange. I think if you're looking for picks, it makes a lot of sense, but I don't think it's particularly good.
Yeah.
So probably go back to the drawing board on that one, and that is likely true of everyone in UQ LoL, because this game is pretty much looking done and dusted with the soul on the backs of everyone on Jesus Loves All, and the Nash pushing waves, and then every time you step up, this potentially will happen.
Crystal Arrow into the Impale, Equalizer drops, and FTR is probably just going to die. Masessa stealing another kill. When is it called kill stealing at this point? Because he's just last hitting everyone. Fate sealed, 3 members, absolutely beautiful. But they can't even get anything more because Kane is just going to be shredded. It's the beautiful Emperor's Divide, but the tower's just gone, and they're already back to full health, all of them. Soul's happy with this. They're just going to walk this one down. You're about to see my dodgy camera. An absolutely fantastic game out of Jesus Love All. It was the draft dip after all, Weapon.
It really was. Once the team fight started, the Renata made all the difference. The Skana was there to set up the plays, and you had an Ashe to follow up with crowd control if everything went completely wrong. And honestly, it very rarely did, because that draft was sick. Yes, there was some early action there from UQ LoL, and I think at this point we've come to expect it. But unfortunately, they just weren't able to carry it through, weren't able to keep the pressure up. Side lane members who really were building for those side lanes weren't able to make the impact that they wanted to, and some shenanigans with the Varus build.
So shenanigans. Look, I don't know what the Varus was thinking. I don't know what their plan was with that. I don't know if they were trying to hope for a late game sort of deal. It wasn't the right call. I think even a Bork probably would have been smarter regardless. Also, quickly, TLDR, sorry for my webcam, guys. For some reason, halfway through the cast, my camera decided to shit itself. So now I'm back with my old webcam, and we're just struggling with it. So it's going to be glitchy.
And now we're both face on?
Yeah, now we've got the exact same look now, but mine's just glitching.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Okay, cool.
Yes,
well,
still.
that is our 2 games. And both of them a little bit one-sided, I would say.
Okay, well, let me hit you with this, though, Weapon. With the talent pool that we have here in Oceania, did you expect it to go any differently?
I got to say, I'm a little bit disappointed about the outcome of the first game, because I was expecting a bit more out of Roundtable. Yeah. I think coming in, I rated both these teams around about the same sort of level. And I think we saw a bit more of a collapse from Roundtable than I was expecting. I think the draft gave themselves very little options.
Yeah.
We talked about that a lot during that game. Whereas UQ versus Jesus Loves All, I mean, you look at this roster on paper, Prion, I think, is still probably one of the best AD carries coming into this tournament. I'd probably rate him in around about the top 5 of most tournaments that he comes into. With the exception of, we've got guys like Yojin in the conversation, of course. But Prion has always been a top performer. And then the rest of the squad, Han has always been a great jungler. Masessa, unfortunately, had a bit of a rough one. And then Soli on the Renata did not have the hardest of games to play, but played it well.
Yeah,
I would say exceptionally well.
I think so as well. 100%. Now, Weapon, that sadly is the end of the first night of the OCC. It has been an absolute delight casting with you again. The Burra Hook doing its best job as always. Don't forget, guys, hit us up on our socials because we will be out there in about playing League, showing off to you guys as well. But definitely don't forget to hit that follow button down below so you can keep up with more OCC information as it comes in. Also, see if there is the Discord available. Not sure if it's fully public facing, but still, we're going to shout it out. Big shout out as well, Weapon, before we close out ourselves, to the admins and all the staff behind the scenes. They did an exceptional job with the cards that they were dealt. I'll wink to that one. But Weapon, any final things before we call it out?
We also got to shout out our observer, Kale. Best to do it right now.
Absolutely.
Lots happening in the games. Caught most of it. There was a couple of unfortunate moments, which we did talk about between the game. The moment where the Mordekaiser died was literally like 2 things happening and had to choose one. So like the kid is so damn good at what he does. Of course, shout out to Meta doing all the production behind the scenes. And thanks everyone for watching. Thank you. We will absolutely be back on this later on. There's playoffs to come at some point. We don't know the format. Hopefully we do find out soon. It would be really cool to know where this all leads. Because these are some really good teams in the tournament, and the playoffs are absolutely going to be sick.
When we find out, you find out. That's a Pike guarantee. It's a Weapon guarantee. We will post it out. We will let you all know. So don't forget, socials is a big place for all this information to be going. But Weapon, as you know, I have my saying. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next adventure. Good night.